did not see this coming. In a million years, I did not see this coming.
What up YouTube, Bonsai here, back with another review, and yeah, today I'm going to be talking about Amazon's adaptation of Bethesda's Fallout. So yeah, my god, this TV show surprised me a hell of a lot. I genuinely was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. Like I did kind of get the sense that it would be good because they got the vibe right and things kind of looked right in the trailers that I did, that I saw, and I did a few videos on, one video on that. But yeah, this show wound up blowing it out in the park in a way that I was not expecting. So yeah, well, before getting into the review, I just want to do the housekeeping. So I did mention last week that I was going to do a review on the three body problem and maybe talk about the alien. Well, specifically talk about the aliens in it and maybe do a review, I should say. It was actually meant to, because I found those Ashantis from that show particularly interesting. But I'm putting that off now because this show has taken my interest, and so yeah, I'd much rather talk about this show, something that I really genuinely liked, as opposed to something that I was kind of meh on. So yeah, let's start by talking about like the writing and the plot in general. This show was phenomenal in a way where it I guess it's credit to Christopher Nolan's brother, or was it Jonathan Nolan? Yeah, I mean, credit to the Nolan brother who was working on the show. Like him and whoever his writing team is, the guys that thought out the show, they did a phenomenal job. Like it really does harken back to Westworld, because Westworld sort of had this slow build up of the plot, and you could they fed you kernels of information very slowly to help build out the world, and I sort of slowly brought everything together. Like, you know, me as a fan of Fallout, I already know about the world a lot, but especially when watching the reviews of some of these reviews that I was talking about, two in particular that I like to point out was Jabi Kowe and Ashara Kirk. They do this on Cinepile, I think that's the name of their channel now. That kind of two of my favorite, among some of my favorite reviews. And whilst Jabi has played a bit of the game, Ashara is someone who has not, but I love seeing her reaction and like her sort of slowly learn about the world. And when they do the discussions afterward, I like it. It was like you could see them very quickly assume information, and for me, being someone that intimately knows this world, sometimes that's something that I might miss, like how well the writers are writing the show in such a way that like normies could pick it up, but like they were picking up stuff in that show and they were mentioning things, and so like credit to the Nolan brothers because they did in such a great way that even someone like Ashara, who generally didn't watch hasn't played the games, was able to like pick up a lot of interesting details about the show, and there were so many kernels put in there. A lot of nice little like Easter eggs here and there too that as a fan I love seeing. I love seeing the Sunset Sarsaparilla and a lot of these other things show up in the show. So like I appreciated all of those kernels whenever they appeared, but at the same time there was a lot of like and it was done, like I said, at a slow pace so that normies could pick it up, but it was like, feeding a lot of information. And like one thing that they mentioned, those two mentioned, was that it was a very efficient use of screen time, right? There was always multiple things happening in the show at once. Like let's take the beginning scene of the show, in the beginning when there's like, you meet our ghoul friend, I forgot his name now, funny enough, they just call him the ghoul, right? And like so many things are going on in that scene, right? On the one hand, we learned that him personally, he's sort of down on his luck, but he used to be big at one point, right? And he was like a performer or something, right? Because they say like, hey, why is this guy doing that, right? But at the same time that's going on, you can hear from the news and the stuff that like, oh shit, there's like nuclear war stuff going on at the same time. So it's like you're learning about the world and you're learning about this character at the same time. And they had that same dynamic throughout multiple scenes of the show. So you learn about a character and you learn about the world. And they flash between the three main characters, help you learn about them, but at the same time about the culture that they came for. So it really helped to set up this idea that multiple factions and like big wide world with so many different peoples, and they all live in very different ways. So I really, really appreciated the writing and whatever. I think the dialogue was pretty good too. Not like amazing top tier, but definitely like a lot of good lines and ones one of them is here and there. And oh yeah, actually, just circling back to the plot a bit, there were a lot of nice surprises, and like there were a lot of times when they did things that sometimes I wouldn't say that they surprised me a lot, but there were sometimes when they did things sooner than I thought they would, or they brought things forward, and so that was like the show wasn't very predictable. It had a lot of unexpected things. I'm very familiar with the universe, so I did kind of like, it wasn't completely surprising for me, but there were a lot of times when things happened. It happened sooner than I thought they would, do it and stuff like that and jump things forward. Like one thing that I don't normally enjoy in shows, I'm not someone who's big on romance in shows, but funny enough, I really like the way the romance scene popped up in this show. Like when Lucy like just sort of like declares her intention with Max, right? Like that scene caught me off guard completely, but I appreciate it, and also because like it seemed genuine and it seemed sort of so in character for her, just sort of being upfront and because of the way she's raised and stuff. And then Max obviously is gonna be kind of like insular and stuff given the type of upbringing he has, but you could see like he was genuinely interested. He really wanted. So like I normally just like don't care for that kind of stuff in shows, but this show was done in such a way, and it's also based on a series that I like, so I guess I'm biased to like it more than most. But yeah, I ended up enjoying the series, like, which for me is a big thing. Normally, I don't end up enjoying stuff like that. So other than like that specific scene, there was so many other things that I could point out that I like, but I wanted to mention that specifically, and it was done unexpectedly too. And it sort of changed the dynamic of what I thought their relationship was going to be. I thought like maybe at the end of the show they'd come together, but then this one is like it brought it forward. But then at the end of the show it shows them diverging and then going on the separate path. So yeah, like nice surprises like that throughout the show. Very wholesome and some not so wholesome. Okay, so speaking of the characters, I'm going to go through and talk about the characters now. So I'm going to start with Lucy. So I was very skeptical about her at first, like them picking a female lead. But then again, like I said in my trailer review, it didn't necessarily matter because in the World Dweller could be either male or female, right? But there was some times when like the beginning scene when you see her throwing over a guy and stuff like that, where it's like physically I can't see her doing that, but I do like that there was a lot of naivete that they baked into her character, and she was still capable, and other than maybe like some nitpicking here and there about that kind of stuff, I'd say her character was done really well. Very naive and one at the beginning, which made sense given her upbringing. But then you saw her like really start to adapt and change and in a way that made sense, right? And I like that she didn't completely abandon her morals and stuff like that. She still sort of had those baked into her, but now it's just like she's like a weathered person who's like seen some shit, and so she doesn't immediately trust Max. Apologies. She doesn't immediately trust Max when she first meets him, and sort of is suspicious of him and stuff, and that makes sense, right? Given everything that she's been through up to that point. And like her journey, her arc throughout the show, like I genuinely enjoyed that. I think it's pretty stupid though that even after the guy told her not to light a fire, she still did anyway, even after cutting his head and putting it up and having a fire there in the middle of the night. But other than some, like I said, little nitpicks here and there, it was great. It was great. And yeah, other than that little scare I got from them trying to turn into a girl boss, she still wound up being capable. But then there was also like there were moments where like she was like too naive, and that like shone through it. So they allowed her to be vulnerable at certain times, and I did expect them to like, one of the things that they like to do is have the female characters just completely overshadow the guys. But then I enjoyed the fact that they did allow Max to shine through and have some heroic moments where he saved Lucy like in a genuine way, not like in that first scene where it was like him in the armor and whatever, but like that, like the scene where they're talking across the bridge, and then like he knows that shit's gonna go down. She tries to calm it down, but then he sees it coming, and he already like once he sees them go, he's like too quick on the trigger, and he's trained and stuff, so he manages to get to them first. So like I like that. She was still capable. She still did a lot of things, and she was scared. But then they also allowed like her vulnerable naivety to come through and whatnot. So it's like it was like a back and forth. And that's what I think makes a character really good, and nice, and have people root for them and enjoy them. Because you want characters who are capable, right? Because you want to be able to like see these people achieve things and then be happy for them, and maybe sometimes see yourself in them and all that. But at the very least, you want to see someone accomplish something, and that makes you feel good for them or whatever. But then at the same time, like if they're too overpowered, then it's just like a power fantasy, and there's no enjoyment to that, and it loses its whatever. So I think they struck a great balance with her, and it's nice to see a good female character that is like a strong protagonist female character in a franchise that I like. It's been a while since I've had that, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I like Lucy all in all. Moving on to Max, I enjoyed him a lot. I wasn't sure how I would feel about him. I like at the beginning I wasn't too sure on how they like. I don't think they introduced him well enough. Like I didn't understand. Well, I mean, it made sense later on why they were beating him up, right? I didn't know why they blamed him when the friend like there's some nitpicks here and there that I have about the show, but I guess like other than those small nitpicks that I have, as a character, I found him very compelling. Yeah, it made sense given his one. I mean, I like the scene where Lucy and him. Again, I normally don't like stuff to do with like romance and shit, but then for some reason for this it kind of like made sense. Like she straight up like asked him, "Hey, do you want to do it?" And then he's like, "Nah, I don't want because my I've heard that some other guys will blow off their penis." Like it genuinely shows you like he too has some sort of naivety and whatever to him. He's he can fight. He's definitely more experienced than her and more trained than her. I mean, both of them are trained, but you could tell that he was trained way more because he comes from a very militaristic faction, right? So he's a lot more comfortable, and he's been living in the surface. Like he's a lot more comfortable than her in this show. But then there's like some moments of his where he's sort of like a fish out of water and stuff, like going back into the vault. And especially that scene, it allowed Lucy, who was now in like a place where she's familiar, to sort of take charge. And it made sense for Max to sit back, relax, and be the one who was naive at that point, right? So it's like they had a nice little exchange there. And, there's some good balance there between the two and allowed each of them to shine within their respective moments. All in all, yeah, I like Max's journey. I like how he's an ambitious young lad, right? And he wants to accomplish things and he wants to do something with his life. He's got a bit of that revenge plot, and I do think they could have developed that more. So like did he lose a family or sister or something like that that he's missing specifically? Like we don't really know that much about it. So I would have wanted something more on that. But out of that, I genuinely enjoyed it. Yeah, I can't really say much beyond that. I think I can say that I enjoyed Max. I enjoyed his character development, and I enjoyed his interactions with Lucy. I think those two played off well together. And then moving on to our good friend, phenomenal, like fantastic. Obviously, that actor guy, I forgot his name, but you all know he's just a great actor. He really suits playing characters like this, and I love like the juxtaposition between him in the past and him now, all old and cynical. Whereas him in the past, don't get me wrong, he was like a cynical man, but like he was still a bit more hopeful and stuff, and like a nice, kinder person. But then obviously, given all the things that happened to him and what he learned about his wife, like that breaking his heart and essentially really setting him down this like path to become the person he was, having the person, I guess his wife, person he loves the most, maybe other than his daughter, like just sort of shed her skin and show what she really is beneath. Like you can really see, it really makes sense. Like okay, so that's the start of his downfall into becoming the person that he is now. And I love that they showed it slowly again. I enjoyed the pacing. I sometimes when they do these things where they do a lot of flashbacks back and forth in shows, it gets a bit jarring and it makes it difficult for you to follow along. Well, not me personally, to be honest. I've never really wanted, but I can understand why sometimes some people find it difficult to follow stories here and there. But I think they did a really good job with him with like connecting the things really well. And yeah, just all in all, the plot was very intricate and all the characters being connected together in ways that you didn't see coming, you didn't understand, you didn't know, right? And having Lucy's father like circle back to being in the middle, Lucy's mother circling back to be a part of that, and then bringing back the cool guy back into everything. Like all the characters are sort of connected to each other in a way you wouldn't expect from the outset, but then it all fits well together and it makes such a compelling show. And him serving as like a character that unites all of the sort of the missing threads really well. I enjoyed that, and I like he's just kind of a badass too, that guy. The experienced Lone Ranger wolf guy, like that scene when he comes in and he like ruins the Brotherhood's like initial assault squad, or like just sort of mowing the lawn through with those New California Republic survivors, the flame people or whatever. But then he comes to it, he just like makes short work of them. And I love that they mentioned it very early on in the show that these suits have a weakness, right? But then they bring it back in there. Like I actually, for whatever reason, it didn't occur to me that was gonna come back to bite the Brotherhood of Steel in the ass later on, but it did. I was like, oh damn, that's like really good Easter egg building and all that like in the show. Like yeah, and there was a crap ton of that, right? Setting things up really early on and then slowly having it pay off. That's just fantastic. And yeah, credit to the Nolan Brotherhood for doing that. It was amazing. So yeah, that's sort of like the three main characters. Other than those three standout characters for me, I'd say I was somewhat disappointed by the way the brother storyline ended. I liked him being the way he was. It wasn't too like, I feel like they could have done more. I don't know how they could have changed it to make me enjoy it more, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I think I should have. Basically, I think something about his storyline didn't end in a way that satisfied me. I like the sort of little nod to Big Mountain by having the guy in the head, the jar and all that, but other than that, his story was interesting. We learned a lot of interesting information, right? But the resolution part of it didn't quite sit right with me. Yeah. I also kind of like or rather I pity the tall guy who was up shacking with the full 39 blonde lady, pregnant lady. But I feel like he'll be an interesting person to follow on the other side, 33, right? Obviously, it would primarily be following the brother and the vault, but it's nice that we have someone that we kind of know to, like, check on to see how things are going in the other vault too, because that'll be kind of interesting. So yeah, hopefully the brother gets out of his situation and goes back. And so yeah, that's those are kind of only the real standouts for me, other than main cast. So moving on to other things, I just like to briefly mention the soundtrack. To me was phenomenal. I can't really speak to for someone who isn't familiar with the universe. I know Ashara and Jabby found it quite funny hearing the songs here and there, but like for me, it was like as someone who plays the games, it's very nostalgic, and it just they used perfect music a lot of times. I think my favorite time that involved a musical score was when she walks into the classroom and sees the new California Republic flag, and then the soundtrack of the NCR plays. I freaking hate the NCR, Legion all the way, by the way, Abe true to Kaiser, but hey, for what it's worth, I actually got like some chills when I heard the NCR music. I was like, oh god damn, they nailed that moment, yeah, right there. So one of my favorite moments, yeah, and it was just like a flag and the music. Oh yeah, and that's one thing I'd like to comment about actually, like the NCR being like brought back and them sort of setting this after Shady Sands being destroyed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that never happens in the game, right? I played New Vegas, and yeah, I've completed New Vegas. I've done multiple playthroughs of New Vegas. It's my favorite one. And each time I've played, I've picked Legion every time, except for maybe 2 times where I either wanted to side with House or one. I've never sided with the NCR. Just so you all know. If you love the NCR, I'm not your guy. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah, I genuinely love that they brought the NCR back, and it made it like sort of like for me personally as a New Vegas fan, like them including New California Republic. I guess they had to because that's the most popular one, the one that people love the most. I mean, Fallout New Vegas, at least the hardcore fan base of the Fallout series. I think most of us tend to like New Vegas the most. And so, yeah, that just went. And obviously, at the end of the show, they showed the strip, right? So, damn, season 2, we find out what happened to House. Probably he's dead. We'll see if the Securitrons are dead, or maybe it's occupied by the Legion. I doubt it though. I doubt an Amazon show would be willing to show the freaking Legion. Maybe they would in season 2. Like they've spent all this time building up all of the regular civilizations that people know, but now they might be, now that they've hooked the audience, they might be willing to go even further and show an even weirder series. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Legion in this like season 2 if they ever do it. Like, come on, guys, you gotta do it. If you show the strip, I was pretty sure. I watched a YouTube video where they talked about if the Korea never intervenes, the Legion was pretty much destined to take Hoover Dam in the second war for Hoover Dam because they set up everything well. The NCR was already on the run. Like as long as the Korea doesn't intervene, the Legion takes the dam. That's the video. I might link it down there if you're interested. I genuinely agree with this guy's sentiments. So in my head canon, the Legion won that second battle, and the Legion currently occupies. Although admittedly I'm a little biased, but watch that video because he made some good points. Anyway. So yeah, that's sort of like on lore stuff. But coming back to speaking about the show itself, sorry for that tangent. Yeah, music was good. I spoke about that. Oh, the sets, the costumes were too clean at times, and what I meant that's me being a bit nitpicky, and they look too clean at times. I wish they had more dirt on them. But like definitely the costume designs were great, and the suits look great, and the world looked great, and a lot of the CGI was fantastic, right? The monsters looked fantastic, the world looked fantastic when they zoomed out and showed all the different things and all the different places. Like there were a lot of times when I couldn't tell that it was CGI, and also that's a sentiment that I think Jabby shares in this video as well. So it's not just me. Like I think you guys would probably agree with me too that like this is the CGI. The budget was well spent on the CGI aspect. Like whoever did the CGI in this one, fantastic. On the creatures, on the wide shots where they show the world, fantastic. Like, dude, like it's phenomenal. So you've got like the great music soundtrack, the great CGI, great cinematography, great acting, right? All of the actors were pretty great. I don't think there was anybody. Well, there were a few people here. No. Yeah, obviously there's nitpicks in shows, but generally speaking, I think every actor and every even side actor did a phenomenal job. And so yeah, acting was great, the dialogue was great, the plot and everything, how everything fit together, the pacing was phenomenal. Dude, this show is solid. So yeah, I think with that, I'm probably gonna end this video now before I rag on for too long. I've already mentioned, I think, what my hopes are for season 2 if they do it in the future. Yeah, maybe bring in some super mutants and some other more crazy things, because since they've done good, so like super mutants, and for me personally, I'd love to see the legions. But if they don't want to do the legion, at least bring in some super mutants, bring some more crazy stuff into the show in the future. With that, let me go through my ratings for the show. So objectively, I would give this show at least a 7.5. Yeah, I want to say 8, but I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna just give it an objective rating of 7.5, which for me is like 7 is good, right? So 7.5 is like almost great, right? But for me personally, as much as I enjoyed it, I'd give it an 8.5. Yeah, I'd give it an 8.5, a 1 on top of that 7.5. Because you know, being a fan, seeing all the things that I enjoy, and like having more of an appreciation of the show for doing right, franchise that I genuinely like. Okay guys, and so that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more movie reviews, trailer reactions, or any other weird content that I'm going to be putting out there for you guys. So yeah, with that, I'm going to end this one. This is Bonsai, signing out. Catch you all later.